Hello, and welcome to the lore of Braunhaven. Today we're going to be talking about the Docks District. So the Docks District of the Imperial Port has pretty much always been a seedy hive of, you know, back alley deals, drugs, vice, prostitution. It's all taking place in the Docks District. In the modern age, things mostly haven't changed all that much. It is still the poorest area as far as anybody who lives there. And it can be said things have gotten worse. So there is a religion, I suppose you could call it, cult, really. It is called the Cult of the Drowned Child, and we will discuss that get into more details about them in the future. But for the most part, the Cult of the Drowned Child is made up of a race of people called the Gentil, and the Gentil are really converted humans, and they kind of moved into the port one night in the form of Gentil commoners, and commoners mostly look like regular people. There's usually some sign on them somewhere that they are Gentil, usually um, uh, fish scales, or their eyes might not be quite right. But they are all followers of the drowned child. And these individuals moved into the port kind of one night. They just showed up, and with them they brought their minions, which are the brine zombies. Brine zombies are the lost souls of sailors that drowned at sea. And now the docks district is mostly taken up uh, with the Gentil, and every night these brine zombies come up out of the water onto the shore, looking to go to the locations that they once lived in life. And they'll pretty much attack anybody that they see out on the streets at night. And so most of the docks district, of course, is made up of warehouses and whatnot that have been abandoned, but there are still squatters. If you are living in the docks district, then you know what rock bottom is. This is not a place that one wants to live. The bulk of the district, like I said, is taken up with warehouses, but it peppered in between these warehouses were taverns, brothels, um, not so much inns, maybe a couple of inns. Mostly hostels where sailors that were staying overnight, unloading cargo, someplace where they could stay. But honestly, even in the past, a lot of sailors would prefer to stay in their hammocks on their ship rather than actually rent a room for the night in the docks district. um, as I said, the Gentil commoners, in a lot of cases, will just walk openly through the streets. They don't, at this point, they don't even really care if anybody in the docks district knows. They are constantly on the lookout for converts to the cult, and that entails a ritual that will convert people, usually against their will. And they also will take people off the street to sacrifice to their dark god, the drowned child. The brine zombies, as I said, they just kind of wander through the streets every night, and there's a good chance that you'll run into them if you're out after dark. The people of that live here, the street urchins and the few prostitutes that are left, or gang members, they are commonly known for selling their friends out to Gentil commoners in order to make a quick penny and or drock pence, and then their friend just either disappears, or if they see him again, that's problematic because now he's one of them. Up here, you have what is known as Craft Row, and this ran along both sides of Docker Street, and it mostly is where the tanneries, blacksmiths, other businesses that generate the unwholesome vapors, tanneries especially, are there's a stench that pervaded the area. And so this is they kind of the Imperial Port wanted all of these in one place so that they could just not deal with it. And so that is where you would find tanneries and blacksmiths, things of that nature. Blacksmiths, not so much, but there was plenty of them in that area. And there's not a whole lot of homes or businesses along that area because of the stink. None of those tanneries or blacksmiths or the whatnot, none of them are open for business today. They're all boarded up. The only people that you're going to find living in those locations are going to be squatters, people that are down and out. They have nowhere else to go, and so they'll stay there. the the one thing about the craft row is that a lot of those businesses in their basements or somewhere on the business had access directly into the sewers. And so this is another thing that makes the docks district a fairly unpleasant place. The docks district, because it was kind of added onto the imperial city, there was really very little thought that went into planning the sewage system for the docks district, and so they hastily attached it to uh, the to the sewage system that already existed in along Yeoman Street, along the south side of the merchant district, and come to find out, it there was already some structure in place, basically ancient ruins, and so they used that as part of their sewage system. And because they didn't do any planning, they figured they just needed to get rid of it. They ran pipes out along the coastline, directly in between a lot of these docks, and just dumped the sewage directly into the Dragon Sea, just to make it, go away. This has made the Dragon Sea and or in the bay at least, very unpleasant. It's not someplace that you're going to want to go swimming. Probably not really do a lot of fishing very close to the coastline. You want to go out a ways because of the foulness of the water and the sewage plants and mushrooms and things of that nature. They kind of go along with all that sewage, and so you have very weird plant life that is growing on the seafloor bottom along these docks. And so it's just a very very unpleasant place, but it is what it is. And a lot of these buildings on Craft Row have direct access in their basements down to the sewage system. You also have further down, you have the warehouse ward, where there is a plethora of warehouses. Some say that there is still cargo in some of these warehouses that has just been sitting for all this time. Those rumors are probably false. The people that are so down and out that are in the docks district are not going to allow something like that to go by. They're going to. Is it even really theft if nobody's there to own it anymore? Anyways, they're not going to let it sit there. They're going to go ahead and pick it up and try to turn around and fence it, probably to somebody in the merchant district, or possibly even for themselves if it is valuable enough. And so the dock or the warehouse ward, that's where a lot of these Gentil commoners have taken up, and they have set up shrines to the drowned child in some of these empty warehouses, and in a lot of cases, they have set these up in the sewers themselves. And so it's a very dangerous place to be, even during the daytime. At night, you've got the brine zombies, the undead sailors. It is not a safe place. Luckily for the farms in the area, most of the Gentil commoners and the brine zombies haven't moved inland very far. They seem to be contained in the docks district itself. How long that remains is anybody's guess, because the Gentil, the cult of the drowned child, is not going to be content. So far, they seem to be moving northerly and trying to come into the merchant district via Yeoman Street, and so especially around the shipyards and things of that nature, nobody's there to really stop them yet. And the Thieves Guild hasn't really given it much thought. One cult is like any other to them, but they are probably going to become aware of how dangerous the cult of the drowned child truly is. And speaking of how dangerous they truly are, a group of adventurers has actually come in to the docks district via the merchant ward, and these adventurers are with a company called Venus Deus Company, and they are sent directly from the capital city of Glaushine, and they're a little bit scary because they are led by an Imperial witch hunter. Imperial witch hunters are a group organization created by the Church of Vuslux, specifically to root out. Well, originally they were specifically designed or built to root out followers of the old gods, mostly druids. But they have a real bee in their butt about witches. Which is how they kind of got their name, and they are equipped with the latest in technology that the Glaucian Empire can afford. And that, for most witch hunters, is going to include matchlock pistols, sometimes matchlock rifles, that these guys will usually carry with them. A typical witch hunter is going to have two matchlock pistols, so that they can fire off two shots before having to reload. But they are also skilled swordsmen, and this company is led by an Imperial witch hunter named Bertram Vander. And Bertram is he's a real piece of work. The people of the Imperial Port have kind of they ask that adventurers not go down and stir things up with the Gentil commoners. And their thought process is that they don't want to antagonize the commoners, the Gentil, to a point that they're going to retaliate. And so they will just ask adventurers to please not deal with that. Venus Deus Company has come in, and they are doing exactly that. They have moved into the docks district for some unknown purpose. It doesn't seem that they're there specifically to root out the Gentil. They have taken some of the populace hostage, tortured them, questioned them, killed more than a couple of the people just living here, in order to get information about something, and nobody knows what it is because those that have been asked are either not talking or they're no longer alive. And so this company of adventurers has moved in looking for something specific, but nobody knows exactly what that is. So that is the docks district. Next week we will be discussing more of the Imperial Port. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.